So today we're going to talk about some of the events that inspired the movie Jaws. So even though it's been alluded even here in the book and a little bit in the film, Benchley himself said it's not a direct reasoning because of the 1916 attacks that he made the book and movie, but it kind of does itself, Where else better to talk about sharks and the film than the local Denver Aquarium? All right, we're saving SeaWorld for Jaws 3. So let me set the scene for you. Our story takes place 4th of July weekend, 1916. All right, so the tiger shark here is known as one of the 3 man-eaters. So in 1916, a series of attacks happened from July 1st through July 12th, with 5 victims and 1 known survivor. Our first known attack happens on Saturday, July 1st at Beach Haven Resort Town. So here, 23-year-old Charles Van Zandt from Philly was visiting with his family, or vacationing with his family. So he was swimming a good distance off the shore while he was there with Retriever. So he starts screaming, and people think he's just trying to communicate with his dog, not realizing he had a shark attached to his leg. So he was brought to shore by the lifeguard, where unfortunately around 6:43 he bled to death. This happened on the manager's desk, where they noticed his left leg was stripped all the way down of his flight. Alright, so this brings us to the next attack. July 6, 1916 in Spring Lake, New Jersey. Alright, so the victim here was 27-year-old Charles Bruder. The shark bit his abdomen and severed his legs. Bruder was swimming roughly 130 yards out from shore. So bystanders had reported to lifeguards that they had seen a red canoe flip out in the ocean. But unfortunately, this was Bruder's blood. So the lifeguards were able to pull him on the lifeboat, but unfortunately he bled out before they even got him to shore. So these next 3 attacks happened in Matawan Creek. So in the early days of the 1916s, the creek really wasn't thought to be an area where you would expect for a shark to venture up to. A sea captain by the name of Thomas Cottrell, local resident, had told everyone that he spotted an 8-foot shark. Just like in the film, the residents dismissed it. So unfortunately, around 2 p.m., a group of boys, and one of them being Lester Stillwell, were playing in the pond or creek. The boys had talked about while playing at White Caught Golf that they saw an old weathered board, kind of similar to the one here behind me, floating down in the creek. So unfortunately, they realized the log had a dorsal fin and was coming right at them. So unfortunately, by the time the boys realized the shark was coming at them, Lester was unable to get out of the water before getting pulled under by the shark. So the boys ran into town to get help. But again, the townspeople didn't really believe the boys. They thought Lester more than likely had an epileptic seizure, as he was known to have. So lucky enough, the boys were able to get somebody to help. A gentleman by the name of Watson Stanley Fisher. So after a little while searching, Fisher was able to find the body of Lester and pull him out of the water. So unfortunately, at the time of the rescue, Fisher, while trying to retrieve the body of Lester, was attacked by the shark himself. And this happened in front of the townspeople, who now knew the stories they were being told were true. And unfortunately for Fisher, due to an injury on his right thigh, he bled to death while at the hospital. Stillwell's body was not recovered for another 2 days. Alright, so this brings us to our 5th victim, Joseph Dunn, age 14, out of New York. He was attacked about a half mile away from Wycott Dock. Alright, so this attack happened roughly 30 minutes after the attack on Stillwell and Fisher. So lucky enough for Dunn, his brother and friend also playing nearby were able to win a tug-of-war game between the shark and them, pulling Dunn to safety after the shark got him on his left leg. So he was no stranger to the hospital, where he ended up staying until September 15th, where he was then successfully discharged. So it kind of ends in a happy story for him. So this now leads to ask us, what type of shark was this? Was it one shark? Was it maybe multiple sharks? People at the time thought maybe a tiger shark. So on July 14th, a taxidermist slash lion tamer, Michael Slesher, caught an 8-foot-long, 300-pound shark. He caught this just a few miles from the mouth of the Matawan Creek. So the story does go, the shark put up quite the fight and almost sank the boat in the process. Right, so after catching the shark, they cut open its belly to discover roughly 15 pounds of human flesh and bones. And after the shark was killed, no further shark attacks happened in 1916 in that area. All right, so this brings us to today, where hypotheses, people still believe it could have been two sharks. And being that it was upstream, some theorists believe it was a bull shark. Matawan Creek has been known to be quite salty at times, so it is entirely feasible that a great white shark could live in that element. So this isn't going to be the only time we talk about this story. Stay tuned, because we will talk a little bit more about it down the road. We're approaching 50 years since the movie Jaws. I'm not that old, but very familiar with the movie Jaws. It's been around for a long time, longer than I've been alive. The movie stands out as a classic. It's got probably one of the most iconic movie themes, and then it just progresses, and so many memories of the movie Jaws. It made me never want to swim at the ocean, the beach, anywhere I ever went, any body of water, because as a young child I didn't realize freshwater, saltwater, sharks and stuff like that, but the movie Jaws will always have a lasting impression on my life, and I probably still won't go swimming in the ocean because of sharks. Alright, so don't forget, if you want to learn more about our true history of the silver screen, click the link right here. If you want to learn more about us at Culz Paranormal, click the right here. And don't forget to give us a like and a subscribe, and let us know what movie you think we should check out next. You know what? That sounds pretty good right now.